You might even be able to put that in the beginning, like in the middle someplace.
Do what?
You might be able to put that in the middle and make it the both of them.
That's what I'm gonna do.
So right now there's a countdown on all of our social media sites. We go live 5 minutes ahead of time. That way we make sure our connection streams are good, and we're so there's a countdown that says live stream starting soon.
Okay, so we have like a 5
and it has your name at the bottom of it. So.
Did you want our website doing it too? Do you want me to create a live stream also, or stream keying on that?
Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Hey B. When we go live on our website, I changed the player type on the website. So
like
if you could make sure that it's going live, yeah. But also check on your phone and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If that happens.
And right now there's going to be more than one. Like if you hit play right now, it should show more than one. So. So actually, let me give you my iPad. You can try on there. What we had the biggest what we had the biggest problem with was
I've been listening to podcasts, and they're kind of saying how like the new content is content like this, where it's like, you know, people maybe, you know, watch it once and it doesn't matter. There's so much content. It's nice to have, but and like.
The one thing that you want to change is it's defaulting to the wrong place. So
just keep putting it out.
I'm in this hip hop group, and something we had to get over was like, I wanted everything we put out to be so perfect looking, and now it's like, dude, just turn your phone on and take a video while we're in the studio. Put something out every day, just so people keep following.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
People almost like it.
Yeah, before it was on live streaming, so it sent it to our live stream site rather than our live stream event site.
We did a live stream of our band in here.
Did you change the name?
Like, did a little performance.
Of the stream.
It got super hot in this
I bet.
It's cool. And then Chris, one of our old DJs, he did a set in here too.
Oh, that's cool. I can't even imagine like having that many people in here. Where do you guys have your client meetings?
In here. Normally, right there. It's
a
really nice couch. There's a chair over there.
Well, Adam's not live yet on our site.
They're coming for a consultation. We'll meet them in there. And we'll get
It's 2677.
what they're looking for, and if we think it matches up, then we'll bring it.
Try it on mobile, because the mobile was the big deal. Mike was checking on the computer the entire time, but I went back. Huh?
2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Thank you. I went back and checked it on the other stuff, and it was
pasting on my
the mobile reader for some reason was not allowing it. It was buffering real bad.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it was a little weird doing that performance, because it was like me and my friend performing, and then there's just 3 people in here with cameras, and he's like trying to get hyped up because people are watching you online, but there's like nobody in here.
Hey everybody, Sean from Legacy Event Group here. This is our second installment of our vendor spotlight. And today we are honored to have Chelsea Hall here with us.
Hi everybody.
So we're going to have the live stream going on all of our event sites, all of our social media sites also. If you have a question or anything during this live stream, put it in the chat. We'll see if we can get to it. We do have a lot of questions here that we've already prepared for Chelsea. We're going to try to put her on the spot, try to make her sweat a little bit under these hot lights. But if you have a question or anything like that and we don't get to it, then we will make sure to pass them on to Chelsea and have her get back with you individually. So, Chelsea, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We had some technical difficulties. If you were standing by and watching the countdown twice, that's because we like to do things twice as good, right? That's my excuse. So first, let's start out and just ask the simple question of, tell me about yourself, tell me about your company, tell me about who you are. You know, we have this persona sometimes, I think, when we have this online presence and people are like, oh, this is Chelsea Hall, I know everything about her.
Yeah.
And it's totally, you know, sometimes very different than who we are. So first, I'd like to know a little bit about your company, and then tell me a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chelsea Hall, and I own Chelsea Hall Photography, where we document heartfelt weddings and portraits. I started my company in 2012, right before I graduated college from Wright State University. My background is photojournalism, so everything we do is documenting. But a little bit about myself. I'm a huge music fan. I love like classic rock. I love like indie folk music. I have two rescue cats. One name is Jimmy, after Jimi Hendrix, and Audrey, after Audrey Hepburn. But, and yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so you are, sounds like you are a heartfelt person.
I am, yes.
You have the rescue cats and everything?
Yes.
So what's the difference between a cat person and a dog person? I gotta know this.
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like, so as an introvert, I feel like I like that my cats are a little bit more, they don't like jump up on me and like well, Jimmy does. Jimmy is basically a little dog. But Audrey's like, I'm gonna go, I like to call her like a little old lady that like loves feet. She loves like shoes and socks and feet, and it's kind of weird, but she's like sleeps in her little, her cute little dome thing most of the day, and she'll like come out every now and then for pets. But Jimmy is like, man, I gotta lock him in the other room sometimes when I'm having meetings. I'm like, oh man, he's like on me. But I feel like, I guess I feel like dog people just love like, I don't know, or maybe a little bit more extroverted. I could be wrong.
I like the stupid look that my dog has on his face sometimes.
Yeah.
I had cats too, and the cats never had the stupid look. They always had like the smug look sometimes.
Oh yeah, they know what's up. They rule my house.
So you had said that you had mentioned photojournalism, and some people think that, you know, having a photographer makes them a professional photographer. Having a DJ console makes them a professional DJ. What is really the definition of a photojournalist, and what are the pros and cons about hiring a professional in contrast to hiring someone that just can take pictures? Like there is a difference, right, between someone who does weddings primarily and someone who is, you know, takes pictures of food.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like the difference between hiring a professional or just hiring maybe like a friend or family member is that the professional, we've been in business for 8 years now, so we've worked at all different types of venues, we've worked in all different types of lighting situations, and it's really, I really feel like it comes down to knowing how to catch people's best sides and also capturing the best light. Whereas somebody who maybe hasn't photographed weddings before or hasn't done it as often as professionals have, they just haven't been in all of those situations. I know my first few years, I had already been photographing for, I think, like 7 years at that point. But like it was a lot when I first started to kind of like figure it out. Now it's kind of like muscle memory with my camera. Like I can look at something and I'm like, I know exactly what settings I need. But that's kind of what I guess the difference is between a professional and maybe like a hobbyist or a friend. They're just gonna know what to do in that situation. They're gonna know like, hey, we're running a little bit low on time, but maybe I'm just gonna pop a flash on my camera instead of throwing up my off-camera flashes, because we want to make sure that the reception goes super well for our clients and for their guests. Or they're already gonna know like now we have time to set up all of our equipment for everything. What was your original question about photojournalism?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an inexperienced photographer.
So
experienced DJ.
With like the different styles.
Styles, okay.
Okay, so I like to think of different styles when it comes to wedding photography. So our style is photojournalistic, and the way that we explain that to our couples is obviously we want to make sure that you're like getting ready in the best lighting, or your portraits are going to be in the best lighting, and all of that. But we really like to stand back and let things happen. I don't want our couples to remember me, like, I don't want to say nitpicking, but telling them exactly what to do. I want them to remember like their nerves or their excitement or the tears from their grandma or their mom. I want them to remember every single emotion. And I feel like with photojournalism, you're documenting memories and you're documenting moments, and you're really standing back and letting those things happen. Whereas some other styles may be more like posy, or making sure everything is like perfect and super in place. But with us, we love the raw, we love the real, and I feel like kind of moving everything to perfection really takes away from that emotion. So
yeah, and I think one of the reasons that we love working with you too is I think that there is a balance between completely posing someone and also not preparing at all.
Yes.
Those are like the extremes, when it comes to like the cake cutting. We will make sure that the cake knife is there and that the cake plate is there, and we'll come to you and say, where do you want them to stand at the table? And so all of those things are the preparation, but what you're saying is from then on out, we're capturing the reality of the moment, which is amazing. And I love that. I love that about you.
Thank you.
There are a lot of things that we have seen throughout the years that makes us love you more.
Oh, thank you. So, I love you guys.
You had mentioned, the shots and things like that. Is there a style difference between, very important to us is everything that you mentioned, the in the now, the in the event kind of thing. But is there a style difference? Like, could you look at a photographer and go, this is their style? Is that lighting? Is that the way that they shoot? What does style mean in the form of the picture itself?
I feel like that has a lot to do with the way, with lighting, the way that they use lighting, whether they're backlighting with the light source behind their subject, or if they're using front lighting, which means that the light source is in front of their subject. So that kind of has a lot to do with if you hear the terms like light and airy or like dark and moody, and that's usually what people say right now. But there definitely is this like line. So you have like maybe lighter style of editing, and then maybe a darker style of editing where lighter images, typically people are using backlighting, whereas like darker, moodier, they're typically using front lighting, and that may be all jargon to most people. But I think that has a lot to do with the way that they post-process their images, but it also, I feel like you can really get any kind of flavor nowadays. Like you can take a little bit of like light and airy, but mix it with a little bit of photojournalism, or light and airy with like editorial, or dark and moody editorial or photojournalistic. You can really just kind of pick what speaks to you and kind of make your own recipe, I guess, and show that off to the world. But it also has a lot to do with the way that you're like speaking to your clients or posing them or not posing them. So.
And is that something that when someone is considering you for photography, is that something that you sit down and you talk to them about? Is that something, because I love that you do more than that. You know, there are some specialties that we look at and they kind of stay in their very, very narrow in their lane. And as long as they do that, great, that's fine. But I think most people want variety.
Yeah.
And so when you decide this, or when someone is sitting down with you, do you go over a shot list? Do you say, like, here are some examples? What if I were a client and I were to meet with you, how would you fish out what I really want compared to what is available?
So I typically ask, like, what are your priorities for the day? What images are you drawn to? Like, what style are you drawn to? And all of our couples who contact us through our inquiry form on our website, they're always like, we love how authentic and like raw and real your images are, and we love that it's candid. And usually that's the word that most people use, is the candidness of it. And I think that kind of helps when couples come to us because they've already seen our work on our website. So when we go into a consultation, they kind of already have a feel of what our work would look like. And I explain to them, especially, I always say that having an engagement session with us is important, which is why we offer it complimentary. And it's kind of like our first date. We can get to know each other. I can see how they are behind the camera. They can see how I am, with the camera in my face. And I tell them that the way we run portraits on an engagement session is very similar to the way that we would do the wedding portraits, because I may have them doing all of these fun different activities and they may think it's a little like kooky or out there, but they're going to remember back to their engagement session and they're going to be like, yeah, I remember that. That was really good. We looked really great. We looked ourselves. We were happy. We were smiling. And we really loved that. And that way they're going to have like the anxiety away on their wedding day. And they're going to be like, okay, we trust her. We know that this all like seems kind of silly. A lot of the, I usually have for portraits is when I come in and I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to actually tell you what to do for these. But the rest of the day, it's all photojournalism. For portraits, we have to be a little bit more hands-on just to work with the light. But I usually have them doing activities so that I can capture like their laughter, their smiles, their tears, their reactions to what I have them doing. So
what you're saying is we need to have a party before the party, right?
Yeah.
Everybody out there, we are going to have a party before the party now. So it's going to be like a pre-party and then the party and then the wedding.
Like a practice party?
Yeah, like a practice party. You said an engagement session, so I think it's a great idea. I think we should all just
show up to like like a couple shower or something.
Exactly.
Have the family partying beforehand.
So you had mentioned candid pictures, and that's what a lot of people recognize as kind of something that you're very, very good at. Could you explain to me what a candid picture is compared to something else? Because not knowing anything about photography, sometimes when I think of a candid picture, I think of something I could take on my phone.
Yeah.
Or something that's very like simple to take.
Yeah.
But your pictures, your output, there's nothing simple about it. It's beauty in so many ways. So what is the difference between a candid picture that you would take and a candid picture of someone would take on just a regular phone?
So I think really the difference is knowing lighting and knowing how to use your equipment properly. I think to be honest, and maybe some people may not like hearing this, I do feel like it's very similar. You can take a candid image on your phone and you can take a candid image on a nice professional camera. Really the difference is going to be the output of it. But even though phones are really great right now and they take really great images, they it's just not the same as a professional image. You're gonna get better bokeh, you're gonna get just the more creamier background and just nicer lighting, especially with the photographer knowing what to do. But when I think of candid, I especially think of my favorite moments are like when the couple, after the I-dos and the kiss and they walk down and they're celebrating. Those are my favorite candid moments, like when they're hugging their family and like their wedding party is just so pumped for them and they're just like giving them hugs on the way out. Those are some of my favorite like real raw candid images because they don't even know that we're there taking them because they're so in the moment and they just don't even realize, which is why it's my favorite to like follow the couple out and then just like kind of hide in the corner and get like all the hugs and the laughter and even some tears or just like them like sharing a cute little like moment to themselves. Those are my favorite, but that's what I feel because you can have candid images when it comes to portraits, but they are definitely more what's the word that I'm looking for? You kind of have, those are more coached candid, if that makes sense, because you're giving them prompts. But in real life, like no prompt, it's the candid like photojournalistic style is no prompts. You're capturing exactly what's happening. So that's hopefully that.
I will say too that you had mentioned that they don't realize that you're taking them and things like that. I don't think people also realize how many candid moments happen that are not captured. That's one of the things that I love about your photography too, is I oftentimes try to take a picture with my phone, just to kind of show things and whatever. And I'm always like, okay, nope, delete, nope, delete, nope, delete. And then I look at your photography of the same thing and you've captured so many moments that I didn't even know happened. And it could be the equipment, but I think it has a lot to do with your eye on being able to preemptively know when a candid moment is going to happen and be prepared to capture it. So kudos for you on that one.
Well, thank you. Yeah, my background, I spent 4 years working for my university newspaper. So my background is photojournalism. It's standing as a fly on the wall and in the back. And I've always been that like introverted shy girl. So it just like, it's what made sense for me is I love just going into a room of a bunch of people and just scanning the room. I literally I loved like seek and finds when I was little, like the word searches, and I would literally just like, and I did them so well because I would just scan like row from row from row, and that's what I do in a room of people. I just scan and I look for those smiles and I look for those moments, and I can like, this sounds so silly. It's almost like a sixth sense, like, oh my gosh, I need to be over there right now because I know they're about to laugh. I know they're about to cry. Like, I just know before it's gonna happen, like where I should be. And that's really, again, coming from like the hiring a friend or hiring a professional. The professional has years of experience, and I've had years of experience doing that where I can have that forethought of, I need to be standing here because I know grandma's gonna cry like when she sees like her granddaughter walking down the aisle, or you just know those moments before they even happen. So
awesome. So you had mentioned your experience, and one of the questions, just to let you know how we kind of make these is we Google them, because I think a lot of clients should Google like what questions to ask my photographer.
Yes.
One of the questions that was in there almost all the time was, have you photographed at my venue before? And it's one of the things that kind of rubs us the wrong way because we feel like we are versatile enough to be able to entertain in any venue. We would do our homework as far as making sure that we looked at pictures, looked at the floor plan, and knew where the outlets were and stuff. How important is it for you to be at the venue? And if you have never been to the venue, or if it's a closed venue that you could not be at until that, does that mean that all is lost, or how do you overcome that question that somehow made it into the top 5?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a question that we get asked often. And it's nice that we've been doing this for so long that we really have photographed at, most of the Dayton and Cincinnati venues. However, before that, there were times when we're like, no, we haven't. But as a professional, any venue that we haven't worked at, we can walk into that space and see like, okay, there's dark ceilings, or there's white ceilings, or you look at the colors of the room and you know what lighting you need. We can really walk into any situation and find like those perfect little spots of light. And the thing is, especially when it comes to photography, it may be a little bit different for, I mean, you guys can rock any space. Like, you could throw a party, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, you can. But like for us, the lighting is different every day of the year. It's different every minute of the day. So we have to come in and scan the room and look for the best lighting. We have to go into any situation anywhere and be able to do that. So for us, I really, as a photographer, being at the venue before, I personally don't think is a big deal. Because again, it could be, I don't know, it could be a snowy day where sunset's at like 4 p.m. or it could be a summer day when sunset's at 9 p.m. and like ceremony times are also different, and we really just have to be knowledgeable of every lighting situation and how to work with that. Yeah, I feel like it's not super important to have been to the venue before, but as a type A person, if this makes anybody feel better, I like to arrive like, 10, 15 minutes early. Actually, it's usually 30, but it's fine. I'll usually arrive like 30 minutes early, walk around the venue just to kind of get a feel of like, oh, that's a really nice ivy wall. I need to check what the lighting's gonna look like over here. Or like, oh my gosh, I can totally imagine the sunset over here through the trees, and that's gonna be magical, and like, we should definitely pull you out for sunset pictures there. So just kind of, I mean, I would suggest to any vendor, if they haven't been to a venue before, just arrive 30 minutes early, do a quick walkthrough, and like, you're good to go.
As you were talking, I was thinking you were talking about different lighting being at different times. I was thinking about the Dayton Art Institute.
Yeah.
The Gothic in there in the middle. It's basically a glass ceiling, so like the light, it shines here, it shines here, it goes everywhere. And I've never thought about the challenge that would be for a photographer to be able to capture that. So that's a good point, and that's very, very true. I mean, especially for outdoor ceremonies and stuff like that too. So.
Oh yeah.
So we've talked a lot about who you are, about who the company is, and things like that. If I were a client and I was interested, 2 questions. Number one is, what is the process? Like, what is the best process that you could say, like, here is the best way to get the best end product? And number 2, why would I choose you? If I was looking at multiple photographers or even a photography, videography package or something like that, why would I go with you rather than someone else? So
as far as process goes, we prefer having contacts through our website. Just because I'm sure, as a wedding professional, getting like DMs and all of the different, all the different spaces, it's just a lot to have. So we definitely prefer contacts through our website. But after that, I really just suggest like trusting your wedding professional and trusting in the process, and know that when I like ask what your favorite date night is, it's because, I guess just be honest about it and tell us what's real, and don't picture something like, oh, this is Pinterest like perfection. Think about like, what is our real life and what do we love to do as a couple? And I ask that to my clients because I want to photograph an engagement session that shows who they truly are. If they love being outside, like, and frolicking through a meadow, by all means, we will go to a meadow and we will frolic through them together. But we really love like going to in-home sessions or going to their favorite brewery or their favorite coffee shop, or just kind of recreating their perfect date night. So I think with that, just kind of following with your wedding professional and going through the process and trusting them and knowing that every little step they've crafted just for you to make sure that they're gonna get the best end product. And then when it comes to hiring us over other photographers, I think it really comes down to, does our personalities mesh well? Can you see, are you going to be comfortable with having me there throughout your wedding day? I'm quirky, I'm weird, I curse a lot. I'm just a little eccentric. So if you're okay with that, if you want that, if you vibe with that, like, let's do it. I'm basically gonna be another wedding party member the rest, like the whole day. So if you vibe with us, like, we wanna be there for you. Also, if you love a more documentary, candid style, if you want images that are gonna be timeless and long lasting, definitely, like, we're the photographers for you. We love capturing moments. We love capturing smiles. I love following, okay, this is probably gonna sound creepy, but I love, like, following family members throughout the reception and, like, capturing those moments of them, because those are the ones you're gonna want 20, 30, 40 years from now. When somebody's passed, those images of, like, your grandma or your dad, and I'm not gonna cry, it's fine. But those are the images that you're gonna want. So we find it important to not only, you know, capture our clients, but capture their family, capture their community, you know, capture their friends, because those are the people that matter most. And while it is, obviously is their day and they should definitely be celebrated, we know that the forethought of knowing that these images of friends, family are the ones that you're really gonna cherish later on, so.
I imagine when you were saying that, I was thinking, if you photograph someone the entire day, or even 2 days or 2 or 3 days, you probably almost feel like you know them, like, intimate, because you're gonna, like, you would know if they were left-handed or right-handed, you would know how they eat, you would know how they drink, you would know if they, you know, you would know so many things about someone just from photographing them that I could see getting attached to someone almost instantly just by having to, you know, preemptively know when they're going to smile and when they're going to cry and stuff like that. So I never thought about that. So if you, obviously there's a lot of different options available. There's photos, there's canvases, there's books. Do you have package prices? Do things, and we're not going to get into prices, obviously it's different for each event, but is there any package product that you have, or is everything a la carte? Tell me how it goes as far as those selections.
Yeah. So we offer a few different collections. We do have a collection where it's we do have a collection where it's just coverage that comes with an engagement session and offers digital products, but we do allow our clients to print wherever they'd like, if that's something that they want to do. A lot of our couples are creatives themselves, so they have access to professional printers, and we don't want to, you know, if they want to DIY, by all means, we want you to get creative and have fun with that. Okay. But we also offer different collections that have albums, and I love putting together an album. In my mind, I feel like less is more. So each image is going to stand out and it's going to be powerful. And, you know, when you go through and pick your favorites, those are the ones that your kids, or if you decide to have them, it's totally cool if not. If like kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews, those are the people who are going to go through these albums and cherish them. I took a picture of almost every picture in my grandmother's wedding album because I took a picture of it and I got it printed, and I cherish them. I love them so much. But we do also offer a la carte canvases and prints and all of that. What's really nice about ordering it through a professional is our printers, or our professional labs, they make sure that their printers are calibrated. Okay. Where when you go to Walgreens or Walmart or wherever you get your pictures printed, sometimes they might be a little bit green, sometimes they might be a little bit magenta. The white balance may be off from what you see on the screen or from what we delivered. But our products are going to be longer lasting, they're going to be museum quality, and they're going to be the image that you noticed, you know, on your screen when it was delivered. So.
Well, thanks. You just ruined our sponsorship from Walgreens.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, so let's say that the client has chosen you and they have a couple questions of how you interact at the event. Mm-hmm. So this is, we've already booked and everything and we're moving on to the event. Photographers, the specialty of photography is one of the most cherished things that a couple will choose. So when it comes to the photographer kind of interlacing their specialty with other specialty, where's that balance at? Like if someone has a set list and they have a lot of pictures and you look at the time between the ceremony and the reception, or even if it's an on-site ceremony and reception and there's just not enough time, or there's some special photo that they want, mm-hmm. How do you operate at the event with other vendors, understanding that the event as a whole is not just the capturing of photography, but other things?
Yeah. So first and foremost, we start that before even, you know, on the wedding day, like 2 months ahead of all of our weddings, or if we're booked, you know, closer to, well, you know, a week or a month out, whatever that process ends up looking like. But typically 2 months ahead, we'll sit down and we'll make a timeline and let them know, like, hey, we're going to be basically in charge unless you have a wedding coordinator or a planner to kind of help you run through the day. Mm-hmm. Typically that kind of falls on us, and we make sure if they don't, it'll fall on us, and we'll make sure that everything runs smoothly. But just having a timeline laid out for us just helps with having I make sure to have all of the family names so that we can get through family formals super fast, and it's a lot more fun than I've seen other people do it. But our thought process is that starts months before. It's the planning part. I love that, and I know I've told you this before, but I love that you send out the timeline, the like reception timeline to everybody. Because I always say, like, once we get to the reception, you know, the DJ kind of takes over, and at that point, we're just capturing what's happening. Obviously, we'll talk back and forth, like, hey, the sun is, like, really nice right now. They asked us if we could do sunset photos. Do we have 5 minutes to just pull them out real quick? And typically, like, you'll be like, yeah, you have 10 minutes. Go for it. Like, everybody's eating. There's some people still in line. Just take them out. So we like to think of, yes, photography is very, very important. Obviously you want your day captured and captured well, but our forefront is we want to make sure that all of that time is, you know, the timeline is padded so we can move things as needed. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the reception, it is essentially, it's an event for your guests, and you enjoying your reception with your friends and your family is very important. And it's, people may have the knowledge of what's happening if things are moving a little bit slower. So we want to make sure that everything goes well between each vendor, because we want their wedding day to run as smoothly as possible. So we always make sure to, you know, check in with you guys. We're like, hey, we have time? Cool, let's do it.
I don't think we've ever told you no.
Yeah, no. You guys are fantastic.
I love the communication that we have at the event. You know, what you just said, you know, can we take them out and stuff like that? That's a very kind way to say they need to go out. You know,
yeah.
The client, the event is for the client wants to go out. So I appreciate the phrasing of that, but I also appreciate when we do run into some issues like with timing, that we can work together and we can say, is it okay if we move this? Is it okay if we do this? So it's very, very important to us, and I think that you do wonderful in balancing those two. Yeah. So another one of those questions on the internet that was asked a lot, we already know the answer to this, but what do you wear at the event?
Yeah, so it depends on the type of event. So I'll feel out what type of event it is. Is it going to be an all outdoor, you know, super hot day? I'm probably going to wear like something where I'm not going to sweat and get too hot. I'm typically always in darker colors, but I might be in like a cute jumper or a cute romper or something that I'm not gonna like die, because I personally think that like, you know, I gotta keep up on my water intake. I gotta keep up on my, you know, making sure I'm eating snacks so that I can deliver the best images. So I'm usually think there's a lot that goes into it. If I'm in like a Catholic ceremony, I'm a little bit more conservative. I make sure I do have a lot of, you know, tattoos, and I like to cover those up usually when it comes to like church ceremonies, and that's because I feel like a ceremony that all eyes should be on stage, and I should kind of blend into the background, and I don't want people to notice me. It also works really well with me kind of being like the fly on the wall, because they're not really like noticing me over here while I'm, you know, capturing them like smiling or crying, or I don't want them to be aware of me, so I always kind of try to blend in. And if it's like a more relaxed day, then we'll dress a little bit more relaxed, but we like to dress to the occasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the client could request a push towards one of those directions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're at the event, everything's going great, dinner was delicious, but it took a little bit longer than what we thought. What's your policy as far as adding on an hour or something like that to capture one more event at the end? If you're there and you're contracted for a certain amount of time, how does that work as far as extending you just a little bit to make sure that everything is captured?
So we let our couples know from our first consultation. You can upgrade packages at any point. You can also add on a la carte hours at any point, and that's up until like the night of, you can add on hours. So say we're running towards the end of the reception and they're like, oh man, you know what, maybe can we have you stay for 30 extra minutes? I'm like, I got you. Because we cut off the full day in our calendar for them. So if they need us to stay it a little bit longer, we are happy to do that. We'll just invoice them for that extra time the next day. So. Okay,
so when it comes to the end product, the term that gets thrown around a lot is photoshopped.
Yeah.
But there's retouches and stuff like that. Do all images get retouched? Do some images get retouched? Does it depend on the package? How do you determine what to retouch and what to Photoshop or, you know, make a lot of edits?
So I fully believe in real raw images, but I edit every single image. So I edit every single image that's delivered. Your full gallery is edited. I will, when it comes to closer portraits, we'll take out blemishes as needed, just because those like come and go. If you have, you know, birthmarks or anything that's gonna be there for the rest of your life, that's like, it is who you are, and which I think is gorgeous and absolutely beautiful, and I want people to see who you really are. We'll keep those in. Same with, we get asked a lot, like, are you gonna Photoshop 5 pounds off of us? And I'm like, no. And that's because I truly believe in showing who you really are and knowing that you're beautiful in the body that you have. I love the movement, especially like with Aerie and a lot of different brands that are not retouching at all. They're showing stretch marks, they're showing blemishes, they're showing everything, because I personally feel like a full-on Photoshop. I think of like kids. How are kids looking at these images? It's skewing their perception of what's real and what's beautiful. So while yes, we put our little touch on every image, we don't do, unless asked, we will if, you know, people really want it. We don't like to overly edit. We want to make sure that it's natural and raw, because I truly believe that it's beautiful. And I know, like, you know, I'll be real. I've seen images of myself where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But then, like, but I have also lived long enough that I felt those way about images in high school. And I look at them now and I'm like, dang, I still wish I looked like that, you know? So I just think of it as 20, 30 years from now, you're gonna look at your pictures and you're gonna be like, dang, I looked good. You're not gonna be thinking about that, like, oh man, I don't know, you're not gonna be thinking about angles. You're gonna be looking at it like, dang, yeah, I looked good on my wedding day.
Like the emotion that it gets, the picture overall.
Yes.
What the picture overall says. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like focusing less on the little details and nitpicking yourself, and you're looking at it like, oh, like, I don't know, just getting all of the, like, your heart swells. Maybe not everybody's as emotional and like cheesy as I am, but when I look at pictures, especially of our couples, my like heart swells. I'm like screaming on the inside, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. I wish they like knew how like beautiful they are, like inside and out.
So the last question is going to be a little bit of a tough one, and I know it's a tough one because there's a lot that goes into this question. There's a lot of nuance that pushes it one way or the other. But when it comes to those final edits, those prints, those, you know, recapturing the day and delivering it to the client, if there was the most heard horror story, it would be, I have been waiting for my photos for a year and have not gotten them back.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So to the best, again, I understand that, you know, there's a lot of nuance into this, but what's the expectation for a returned product when it comes to the client, and when can they expect to have something, even if that's just communication back and forth or continuing to work on it from you?
So all of our engagement sessions are delivered within 3 weeks from the session, and all of our wedding galleries are delivered within 8. And I'll be like I'm all about honesty here, so I'm very frank. But I think I've had maybe 1 or 2 galleries that have been delivered a couple days late, and that's one gallery was, and I'll just be quite frank, delivered a little bit late from a wedding in February, and that's just because of, you know, all of the craziness that happened. But I was upfront with them and I let them know. But I'm very much a stickler. I'm like, no, it's getting delivered on this date always. And I think that it's super important because, as any wedding vendor knows, like, it's your reputation that's on the line. And also I would hate to ever put any couple or client through that of not knowing, like, did something happen to my images? Did something happen here? And we just keep the like communication factor open for all of that.
Awesome. Well, that's the hardest question I got for you.
I know, I was like, whoo, that one got me sweating a little bit.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for telling us more about Chelsea and about your photography company. Let everyone know the best way to contact you. I know that's the website, but if the website, any other secondary methods, anything that you want to know about how to contact you about choosing you as a photographer.
Yeah, so you can reach out to www.chelsea-hall.com. And we have a contact form on there. You can also reach out via Instagram. It's at Chelsea Hall Photo, and on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Chelsea Hall Photo as well. So we're super easy to find. If you literally just type in Chelsea Hall Photo, I'm sure we'll be the first person to pop up on your Google form. We are now beating out Chelsea, New York. So like Chelsea Hall, like Memorial Hall or something in New York. Yeah, we beat them out on Google now. I was like, yes.
It's funny you say that because there is a series of books called The Legacy Event that I was trying to beat out, and we just beat it out too. So kudos for both of us.
Yes. We're like SEO nerds over here. It's fine. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk to you next time. Again, my name is Sean from Legacy Event Group.